Hello, friends, and welcome back to r/ProRevenge. In our first story, the OP at a fairly young age was able to exact a fitting revenge. But before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you're new here and turn on notifications so you don't miss a new video every single day. Hospital wanted free art and did not want us there on opening night. Enjoy your free art. When I was 16, I took 10th grade at an art school. Mondays and Fridays were spent doing regular schoolwork, and the rest of the week was pure art heaven. There were 3 workshops, and you would dedicate yourself to one of them for the whole year. There was design of clothes, more general design, and animation. I was in animation with all the geeks. At one point, the school was commissioned by a new section at a hospital. I do believe it was the children's section, but I'm not sure, to decorate their new hallways, and the prompt we got from them was the red thread. We were also told from the get-go that we would not be paid or even allowed to show up for the reception because that was only for the important people in town. So think mayors, doctors, CEOs, all that lame crap. Now, when you ask somebody to do you a favor and have the nerve to have an attitude about it as well, and the someone you ask the favor of is an entire school full of artistic 16 to 18-year-olds in the mid-2000s, you are in deep crap. We took the red thread theme very, very, very seriously. It wasn't even something we talked about across the workshops, but the entire week you could feel the resentment hang in the air as we used that resentment to fuel our creativity. We spent a week making nightmare fuel art. Every single one of us. The clothing designers made nurses' outfits caked in blood with red thread stitched into the white fabric and took knives to the skirts to shred it. Even got a morphine bag and filled it with fake blood and attached it to one of the costumes. The designers made horrific sculptures of broken anatomy, twisting in pain, and silent screams. The animation students, aka my crowd, did all kinds of crazy crap. I made an abstract painting with a friend where we attached plaster to the canvas to make it look like it was oozing blood and pus. Every single piece of art looked like it came straight from Silent Hill. But every one of them had a red thread pulsing through the disgusting artwork, so we did what we were told. We had the artwork delivered, and we never heard from the hospital, not even a thank you note or anything. I think what I appreciate the most is that the teachers and the headmaster of our school just let us do what we wanted and seemed to accept that this collab was a complete disaster. Should have Googled pictures of the CEO, board of directors, etc., and incorporated them into your nightmare fuel. I can just see a picture of some bigwig's wife sipping champagne in a slinky cocktail dress and spotting a gruesome painting of her husband waking up screaming during surgery. And our next story. Monster annoys me on a plane, but I get back. Senior year of high school, I was taking a plane to visit my grandma. The flight went from Baltimore to Pittsburgh, Pittsburgh to Vegas, then Vegas to Boise. The flight from Baltimore was almost empty, and I was on Southwest, so I could choose my own seat, and I was on the same plane until Vegas. I selected the last row of the plane by the window, put my earbuds in, and took a nap till Pittsburgh. When the plane landed, I went to the bathroom while people were getting onto the plane. To save my spot, I left my backpack in my seat and put my jacket on the seat and left. When I got back, I noticed this pregnant lady sitting in my seat and her husband sitting in the aisle seat, with my jacket thrown on the ground in the aisle, with my backpack underneath with a laptop in it. Kind of annoyed, I pointed out that I was previously sitting in the window seat and I wanted to know if I could have my seat back. "Can't you see that I'm pregnant and need this seat?" she said aggressively. Then I looked at the husband and asked if he could please scoot over and sit next to his wife. The guy looked me in the eyes and said, "Sorry, but we're allowed to choose our own seats," and I chose the aisle seat. Being a high school senior, I wasn't that big of a guy, but I still was not happy to be sitting in the center seat. Realizing that I was losing this argument and wasn't going to get any leverage over this lady, I decided to grit my teeth and bear it. I collected my stuff and moved into the middle seat. The second I sat down, the lady said, "You can't have your backpack in your seat. You're going to have to find another place to put it." "I'm just going to put it under my seat," I respond. "Where am I going to put my feet then?" she responds. "I don't know, not under my effing seat." Growing up, I swore more than most people and really only watch what I say at school. Suddenly, I felt someone grab my collar. The husband pulled me inches from his face and said, "Don't use that language to my wife or the baby. You'll say you're sorry." I was shocked. Not only was the guy grabbing me in public, but at the time I was only 17 and still considered a minor. But not wanting to make a big deal out of it, I gave the most half-assed, "I'm sorry," to the woman and put my earbuds in as the flight was getting ready to take off. While taxiing, the lady kept trying to get my attention by yelling in my ear and snapping her fingers inches from in front of my face before she finally pulled my earbuds out. "You need to turn your electronic stuff off during takeoff," she said. Now, my dad was a pilot for 30 years, and he confirmed that electronics don't interfere with communications. It's mostly a formality so that people pay attention to the emergency instructions. So I ignore her. Since we're literally less than a minute from taking off, in a rage, she spams the flight attendant button so that one comes. We also had to hold takeoff until the issue was resolved. The flight attendant runs over and asks what's wrong, expecting an emergency. "He won't turn off his electronics before the flight. He's trying to kill us," she exclaims. Realizing everyone is staring at us when the flight attendant asks me to turn it off, I oblige. After I turn it off, she starts to lecture me about how she was right and I was wrong, rubbing how the flight attendant proved her right. So the flight's in the air. When the intercom tells me that we can use electronics, I put my earbuds in and crank it about 5 minutes into the flight. I feel aggravated tapping on my shoulder. I turn to look at the woman. "You need to turn that down. It's bad for the baby," she said. While I was listening to the music louder than normal, it still wasn't to the point that an unborn baby would be able to hear it and be able to understand. Shocked, I responded with, "No." But the second she reached for the flight attendant button, I said that I would. I did that trick where you turn your volume down 2 times, then up once, so it looks like you turned it down 3 times. "Better?" I asked. "More," she said. I responded by going down 1 more. And before I could put my earbuds in, she said, "It's proper etiquette to talk to people you're sitting next to." I just ignored her. I sit back and tried to close my eyes, and amazingly this works. I fall asleep for about an hour. It was a 5-hour flight. When I woke up, this woman had her foot on my backpack with my laptop in it, so I just adjusted my foot so it'd be uncomfortable for her to continue to keep her feet the way they were. She immediately stood up, and I thought she was going to yell given her ability to overreact, but it turns out she was just getting up to go to the bathroom. She gets past me and her husband when a brilliant idea pops into my head. The second she steps into the bathroom, I get ready to get up and move my stuff over to the window seat. And as I grab my backpack and shift my momentum over, I feel a hand grab me. I did not take into account the husband. "You are not taking my wife's seat," he said. "Sir, I have to warn you that you're grabbing a minor, and if I feel like it, at any second I could cry that you're attacking me or you've made sexual advances on me." I respond as he lets go and I move over to the seat I had before. When she gets back, she's furious, demanding that I move seats, now to the point that the flight attendant comes over to see what's going on, and this time she sides with me. When she asks the husband to make me move, I look him dead in the eye, and he goes back to reading his book, and she sits in the middle seat. Pissed as hell. Thankfully, I moved seats because she was up and down in her seat, having to go to the bathroom every 15 minutes. That was pretty much the rest of the flight, except how she intercepted my bag of pretzels when the drink cart came. I responded by closing the shade of the window as we started to land at the Las Vegas airport. Once off the plane, I went to Burger King to get a drink and some food. Then I got to my next gate and find the last seat. I scarf down my fries and burger, walk across the hall, literally 10 feet from my seat to throw away my garbage. When I turn to go back to my seat, I see the same lady now sitting in the seat I had my bag in. She had moved it to the floor right in front of her. Then she shot me this smug butt grin thinking she had won. Somewhat defeated by losing 2 seats to this lady, losing sleep and my patience, it was time for action. I walk over to her to gather my things, and as I got to her, I look her dead in the eyes, raised my right hand out, fingers spread, hovered it right over her stomach, looked down at my hand, then back to her eyes. "I just cursed your baby," I say straight-faced, turn around 180 degrees, walk across the hall, and sit down on the floor, staring at her intensely. Now, I don't believe in curses, nor do I think I have the ability to place a curse. But this lady believed it. Her face was left expressionless, and she just started weeping to herself as I sat and watched. When her husband came over to see what was wrong and she told him, he instantly stormed over to me and knocked the drink out of my hand, grabbed me by the collar, and got right in my face. "Listen here, you little crap." He got out before security guards grabbed the man and detained him. The FAA doesn't mess around with who they hire. One guard asked me why this guy was angry, and I said that his wife had taken my seat, and I made a comment under my breath, and he got upset with me. The officer asked for my name and identification and saw that I was a minor. He asked if I wanted to press charges, and I told him yes, but that I didn't want to miss my flight. He understood and let me go, then informed the Southwest Airline gate attendant to please keep track of me in case we needed more information. This meant that I got to get on early and chose the first seat I could, aisle seat, to see if this lady would get on the plane, since she was sitting on the same gate as my flight. She never got on the plane, and it takes off. Halfway through the flight attendant asked me if I put a curse on the baby, and I responded with, "I don't know magic." 20 minutes later, the flight attendant told me that unfortunately I would not be able to press charges on them due to being a minor, but that they missed their flight and they would have to buy a new ticket to their final destination with another airline. With 5 words, I cost this horrible woman and her abusive husband around $500. This is pure gold. I was starting to get worried that they got away with this type of behavior. Guarantee the flight attendants were laughing about the curse. And our next story. You're just an old hobo with a cane. My father was the founder and owner of a small building company. When he was young, he was wounded in the knee while serving in the army, so he couldn't be an adventurer. So he had to walk with a cane for the rest of his life. He was quite a rugged and unpretentious man. That's why he went to the office in a pair of worn jeans and a t-shirt. One day before work and on his way to the coffee shop, he saw that the handicap spot was occupied by a red BMW cabriolet. So he had to park across the street and walk into the coffee shop. As he approached the walkway, he saw a young girl get out with a big glass and get into the red cabriolet. My dad just decided to make a remark to her that this was a handicap spot. Karen responded by screaming, "Back off, you fucking hobo old man, or I'll call the police for harassment. Go ahead and get a fine," and he pointed to the camera in front of the parking lot. "Back off, you bum, I'm late." Karen gives him the middle finger and drives away. Dad takes a coffee and drives to check out the building site before he pulls into his office. As he pulls up to the office, he sees a red cabriolet in the parking lot, and then meets Karen in front of the reception area of the office. "You probably work as a janitor here. Soon I'll be an accountant and you'll be fired for talking to me like that outside the coffee shop, old man." My father was speechless. Then the HR manager comes in and says, "Oh, hello, Mr. Owner. This is the girl I told you about yesterday. She's here for the interview." Karen blushes and quickly moves to the exit of the building. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.